1.
This
No.
is the face of frustration, people.
Oh, boy. Here it is.
He says, oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Speaking of frustration.
I would like you all to know,
my.
that I was here on time.
You were here on time.
Chris was late.
Well, we've established that when Jason is late, he's on time. And when Chris is late, he's either dead or incapacitated or just not paying attention.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey, I don't know what's going on with you, but I know what's going on with me, chat. It's that we are painting today. I gave myself a round of applause for that one.
Because that was
I didn't need that.
something.
Hey, Ray.
That was something.
Kyle Sparks, Rattle Can, Michael Holtz, Paint Liquor, Blood Walrus, Thumb Palette. Now, Thumb Palette, you did change your name. And I need to reiterate something with you. Right? We did not give you a hard time with the length of your name. It was because it was in blue text. And those are really hard to read in dark mode. So, yeah. I wanted to reiterate that to you. Did you paint that leg as silver metal like the guy insisted? We are going to paint it silver. Right?
That's what's happening right now.
Agrippa, should we all change our names to blue? I would physically be upset.
Physically.
If you did that.
Be upset.
For real. Don't do that, please.
It's so hard to read.
Please don't do that. I think that would be hilarious for 30 seconds.
The background of the window that we use to read all this stuff that we can't change
is blue.
And so anybody with a blue name, we just can't say your name. Like I can't see it. Like he has to highlight it for me, or I can't even see what that. Oh, that's Thumb Palette. Of course it is. What's going on, Thumb Palette?
Then changed your you did it to red. There you go. Lord of the Hunt, welcome in. Agrippa says, "Don't threaten me with a good time." Agrippa, I'll ban you. I'm getting to the point now where I'm in banned mode. I would never ban you. Well,
Chris
I would
is
ban
just
you.
Angry today.
Me?
I don't know why.
I know why. There's a reason.
I don't know why.
There's a reason.
I don't know what that reason is.
There's so many reasons today.
Give me 15.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know how I like how that feels.
Right? You've been doing that to us for years, Christopher.
That's true. Years? No. It's only been a recent bit that I've been testing out on the public. Roadside Midger says, does Chris need a Snickers? Maybe. Is Chris hangry? I've never been hangry in my entire life, sarcastic
Lies.
grandpa. Panic Bomb says, relax, Chris. It's hobby time. You're right. You know what, Panic Bomb? I appreciate you bringing me back to center. I like that. Doghouse Hobbies, what up, man? Blood Walrus says, Chris is choosing violence today. I've never chosen violence in my entire life.
Except that one time.
Except for that one time, we don't talk about it.
We just did.
We technically did. Hey, Bud, finally got that AHA moment from glazing. Oh, the aha moment. For a second, I thought that
AHA moment.
I totally.
I was like,
I don't know why I just read that out loud. Like, aha! Of course, I like the HAA moment though. That's hilarious. From glazing, thank you for dropping the knowledge. Can't wait for the heavy body paints. Yes, and great segue, Bud. Next Tuesday, y'all, they're coming out. Get ready. Ghost Hunter says, how goes the Craze versus Fisher hockey feud?
I mean, the Stars are up 1-0 in that series.
Jason,
I think game 2 is tonight, maybe?
Jason, did you realize that there's something in the stream room?
What?
That Shannon hid. Look down at your heavy body acrylic container. Look at the front of it. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. it's on there. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, he's going to get it off. Oh. What is it?
I'll be right back.
This is my moment. not happy. Oh, I can hear Shannon laughing. Not happy. Not happy. He's not happy, chat. He's not happy. Not happy. Not happy. He stormed off. Yeah. Nope. I can't. We'll see. We'll see how long he's absent for. Yes. Throwing glasses. Oh yeah. It's oh, Jen. This is oh my. He's coming back with much disdain in his eye. Jen, he found an Oiler sticker. No, he just came back, Jen. I appreciate that. You can always come in here though. And that Jason. Oh. Is he pooping? That's hilarious. Jason, how you probably packing up Chris's stuff. Oh, no, I'm just the messenger. I'm just the messenger.
You allowed it to happen.
Did I didn't necessarily want it to happen.
You allowed this to happen.
I noticed it and I'm like, "Oh
you
no."
Allowed this to happen.
I didn't allow anything to happen. Actually, it was brought upon me.
You allowed this to happen, Christopher.
Yeesh. Oh boy. Chris says, Thumb Palette says, Chris, you're quoting me, and I've never done this. I don't take poops. I just disturb them. Whoa! Jason, how are you doing up there, man? The quiet Oh, no. Chris let it happen, then pointed it out to foster chaos. No. You all think I am dumb if I'm not on Jason's side, having to sit on this side of the producer desk. I am not on Shannon's side. I have made it very clear. I am done with the Fisher family. I've made it very clear. And if I haven't, let me reiterate. I'm just saying, I wouldn't have done that. But somebody did mention it. Oh no. He's oh no. We're getting what Chris didn't have. Josh is back. I don't know who Josh is.
Somebody just call me Josh?
Did you just call him Josh? I don't think so. Right here, Jason. Who is Joe?
Who's Josh?
Josh?
Did you just call me Josh?
Did you just call him Josh? I don't think so. I think there's nobody on the team named Josh, is there? Oh, you did say Josh. This is Jason Josh Craze. Oh, man. Well, that was an entertaining bit there, chat.
I went back and I tore it in half right in front of her while they were all laughing and having fun, and I made them feel very awkward by doing this the whole time.
Oh, you got a good death stare.
I tore it up, and then at the end I went flick with all the pieces, and I turned around and slammed the door.
That's hilarious.
So
I could hear Shannon yelling or laughing. Oh.
Shelby was back there going, "It's funny, right? It's funny. It's funny, Jason. It's funny."
I think she stuck these little stickers in a lot of different places.
I will
burn you to cut to the ground.
Yes.
I will burn Rome to the ground.
I need a sticker locator. We can get rid of this filth.
You know what? Speaking of sticker locators.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome in, everybody.
I didn't know that was
we, the people, we are Monument Hobbies. Jason's Monument Hobbies. We are Monument Hobbies. Thank you for tuning in. We are back painting up some old hammer with the man, the myth, the legend.
Josh.
Josh.
Flapsack said Josh in the house.
Josh is up here.
Josh is not a bad name.
It's not a bad name.
It's not a bad name. Like if my mom had needed another name, I would not be mad at Josh.
Josh is not bad. Josh plays. Josh is good. Yeah, so we're painting up some old hammer today. We have some Big release is coming next week. The Heavy Bodies will be out and about and in the world on Tuesday. So keep an eye out for that. We will post it on socials, but we will also mention it in Discord when it goes live. So wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We have secret plans in there. So
I was on our Discord late last night playing Kingdom Death
with Mo.
And
that
Paint
go?
Liquor.
Mo, I saw you in here, Mo.
Mo and Paint Liquor treated me to a wonderful evening of teaching me how to play Kingdom Death and a one-shot vignette thing.
How was it?
It was good. I actually contacted Adam Poots this morning and told him that he needs to find a way, or that I need to find a way to threaten him out of all of past and future expansions for the game, because I think it would be fun to play. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, interesting.
He has not responded to me yet, so we'll see what happens.
What is Kingdom Death?
It's a game.
It's like I know it's a game. Is it like an RPG or is it like a skirmish game?
It has the ability to be very RPG-ish. It's meant to play that way because there are events that happen that have permanence for your character. Mm-hmm. So it's done in this really weird like hellscape.
Okay.
And there you have from the best I can tell, you have like a village or a encampment that you are part of.
Yeah.
And your goal is to forage for supplies, and during the course of the calendar years as they go through the game, you have to fight various creatures. And then you go and you do this kind of like, I think the best way that I would describe it, and anybody out there that's played might help me out here, but it's kind of like a tactical chess game.
Okay.
It's an AI controlled monster with it has an AI deck.
Okay.
Of cards that control the monster. So it's all the players play as characters, and then the control of the monster goes from character to character.
Okay.
So I might have the monster control one turn, and you have the monster control the next turn. And they've done this really cool thing where in some of the character sheets, they've baked in, like when you get certain equipment, it bakes in that if certain things happen, like if the monster targets you when you're the monster controller, you get these benefits. So the game has baked in there these kind of really cool things that would prevent you from just having the monster attack the other players.
Okay.
Sometimes it's better for the monster to attack you because you get some buffs.
Okay.
And you might be able to use those buffs to your benefit. And by killing the monster and doing these things, you get maybe part of their armor and all this other stuff. We didn't go deep into the campaign setting, so I don't know as much as I probably sound like I do. It was my first time touching it.
Okay.
And but it was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
The vignette was we had to play against the Butcher version 2 or level 2 Butcher.
Did you play on like Tabletop Simulator?
Yeah, it's like it's their own. They've built their own using the Tabletop Simulator engine. They've built their own game that has all of the stuff in a room. So you're in this room, and the shelves have all the miniature cabinets. So all the miniatures are in the cabinets, and the expansions and the cards. So you can walk around the room and grab the thing you want to play, and then put it on the table and play. But it is Tabletop Simulator as an engine.
I love playing on Tabletop Simulator.
I hate it.
You don't like it? I like it
I hate it because it's very, very clunky in terms of getting things to happen. It's right-click this, press this key, pick the card up, flip the card, put the card down. Video games are meant to have all that baked into them. It would be like draw a card, and it would actually take the card you needed and the AI would know what to do in the game. This is still, too, you have to pick up all this crap around the table as if it were trying to be real because it is a simulation. I don't like that.
I feel you.
It's much better now because now when you put the miniatures down, they don't fall over like they used to. They built a better physics engine for picking stuff up because when I got into Tabletop Simulator, it was brand new. And if you picked a miniature up and put it down, it would fall over all the time because their gravity and physics and the thing was horrible.
Okay.
So it's gotten a lot better.
I played maybe it's the one I played, the modded version of the AOS one is pretty cool where it's like sticky, but I could obviously if you
they now have a deal where and I don't know if this is just for the Kingdom Death, but you could right click the miniature and say move, and it would pull up how far the miniature could move because that's cool. Now programmed for that game. And so you could just select the square and it would move it for you. So you didn't have to pick it up. Now some of the guys like Paint Liquor would pick it up and move it all the time.
Oh.
But if you right click and did move or hit the quick key for move, then it was more like an RTS, right? Where you could just pick the square that you wanted to move to and then choose your facing once the miniature landed. So it has some better actions. But it's pretty cool. Tabletop Simulator is amazing. Jason's just old. I see it for its value of being able to play games like that with people that don't live in my town, so it makes that really cool.
That's the only benefit.
But, you know, it's funny, like they said, hey, anytime you're interested in doing this again, you know, let us know. And I was like, you know, on the one hand, I'm like, I had a lot of fun. I would do that again, but I really hated the fact that I didn't have physical miniatures in my hand and that I couldn't pick up the cards and shuffle through them. It's a game with a lot of moving parts, and to have it all digital just doesn't feel good.
Tough. That's tough.
You know, I can understand that it's fun for that, and I would continue to use it for that. It's just, it's very clunky, and it made me want to play that game with painted miniatures.
That's cool. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's how many minis you think you need?
Well, it was a monster and 4 characters is all we had, so it was literally 5 miniatures.
That's not bad.
Yeah, so it's great. Now there are some terrain things and other things you can paint, but usually that's what it's going to be: is a small squad or group of characters and then a monster.
Oh,
some of the monsters might have like a henchman that comes with them, but it's really low. It's like super low model count and really heavy lifting tactically. There's some really interesting things you have to think about because number one, it's brutal. Like you can literally just die.
Oh, okay.
Like you can get one shot, you know, and so you have to play right. You know, use your armor, use your abilities, stuff like that. So it'd be interesting to see the game played
on tabletop
through like a season, they call it, or whatever, through the calendar season.
Okay.
To see a character go from like basically naked with a bone and kill a monster, you know, get some armor, start building up over time. Because you literally just start in a loincloth with a lantern.
Oh, okay. I think I have seen this.
Yeah, you don't start with hardly anything.
Lantern mechanics in this game, right? Or like light.
Not everybody. I don't know that everybody has a lantern, but yeah. It's
Ray says, "Please paint a Kingdom Death character next." I have not seen the characters. For a second, I'm like, are there?
Well, I've painted a bunch of the pinups, right? Because one thing they do is they take their character types, their character classes, like the White Speaker and all this stuff, and they do like pinup versions, which are these, you know, like, you know, what do they call them? Burlesque type, you know, females and stuff.
Okay.
Very sexualized. That's the thing that has kept me from the game the most, is that, you know, painting it on stream, is that there are some models that are all like, you know, penises and
I see,
things like that, because it's this weird kind of Lovecraftian version of hell, right? And so it really does have some unique
I'm looking here now
kind of themes.
Okay.
But there's like the Smoke Knight, Flower Knight, stuff like that, and we have some of those models here. I think I have the Lion Knight and the Flower Knight, maybe. Mo said he gave me the Lion Knight. I don't know where that model is, but...
Cool. Right. Huh. He has some, I know for a fact. Well, the Lion Knight, he is a boss. Okay. Cool. Well, I'm glad you had a fun time.
Yeah, it was good.
That's
good time. Good time was had. Mo and Paint Liquor are good people, so good to hang out. We sat in the Discord chat and had a lot of fun. It got really close. I nearly got Mo killed.
Oh, no.
We wound up beating the deal and nobody died, except for the bad guy. I got very early in the game, I got a debuff put on me by the bad guy due to a reflex action that made it to where I had -3 accuracy, and I was already only hitting on 6s with my character, so I was hitting on 9s on a 10-sided die.
That's rough.
So it was rough. I was like, well, this is not fun for me anymore.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm looking at
the one turn where we knocked the boss down and you were going to be able to hit him on 3s, he stood up as part of his reaction to something. And before I got a chance to attack him, so I was back to hitting him on like 8s, I think, at that point. It sucked. So yeah, it had a lot of very interesting mechanics that made it fun.
Flapjack, some of those pinups get pretty graphic. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm glad sounds like the decent game mechanic.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with how well the game played on Tabletop Simulator and just in general. Now, the Tabletop Simulator thing had some glitches, like Paint Liquor at one point in time. He couldn't pick up or set things down anymore.
Yeah.
Like his interface glitched.
Oh, okay. I see.
But other than that, it was good. Mo and I just had to pick up stuff for him, but like pick up cards and stuff. But he did a great job of teaching it.
Cool.
And I think we had fun. Mo, are you out there, Mo?
Mo's here, yeah.
I think it was fun. I sent Mo a message this morning, telling him thank you. I had a lot of fun. Mo gave me a free key to the game.
Hey, that sounds like a fun time you had with Mo and Paint Liquor.
I love being able to hang out with a community like that. Most of the time, I only do that at shows, right, where we get
Yeah.
to like sit down with like Zambies and stuff and play games, and being able to do stuff like that. That's kind of in but out. You know, it's like video game but not, and that was a lot of fun. You know, because it used to be when I was streaming, I would have like when I was streaming games, we would have the community interact with doing like hot drops with me and stuff like that, so we could go and play community members. We used to have a thing that we did that was called the bounty system, where community members would play, and if they sync dropped or stream sniped me, basically, it encouraged stream sniping. And if they would stream snipe me and kill me, I would give them whatever the in-game currency was. We'd given them an amount of in-game currency from the game we were playing.
That's dope.
That was always a lot of fun. Yeah.
6ID, first time chat, welcome in. What colors would you use for bronze non-metallic metal? Bronze.
Bronze is like a silvery gold. Think about it like that. It is yellowy still as a yellow metal, but you can kind of dictate how far you push it. When you polish bronze, it moves more towards silver, believe it or not. It's almost like a yellow silver, if that makes sense. So that's the world it lives in. A lot of times when we're painting it in miniature, I like to use browns, right? Because the brown pushes it away from either silver or gold. So that's why our bronze metallic paints have a more, like old GW 10 bits, brownish, orangish kind of feel to them. So I'm a big fan there. I think same thing when you're doing non-metallic is you start with like a green or brown base. I wish we had Hank sitting here because I had done a bronze where I use burnt orange.
Okay.
Dark camo green.
Oh.
Yellow ochre. And do it like I would do a warmer gold, but you're not using as much of the yellow. You're letting the green and the oranges show through more. So that's a really good way to do it. I wouldn't, this kind of gold that I'm doing here where it's more yellowy is like, Dookie for 24 karat plated gold kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And you would not use as much yellow, but you could use all the other same colors.
Swifty Bear. Okay, yes, Swifty Bear, we can see you. And Swifty Bear asks, what red buildup are you doing on that shoulder, if you want to remind us?
I started with Payne's Gray into Dark Plum into Pyro Red. And I just mixed the Payne's Gray with the Dark Plum for the second layer, the Dark Plum with the Pyro Red after that, and then the Pyro Red by itself on top. If you want to punch in close,
Yeah.
you can see that it's just a lot of that blues and purplish that you get from the Dark Plum as the shade base that I blended
Dark
up to
Plum.
the top.
I always forget to use Dark Plum.
It's such a great transition if
Yeah.
you want to do reds, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Debbie says you should paint the pointing finger gold and call him Inquisitor Goldfinger.
Goldfinger.
I love gold! I can't help myself. That's interesting. So, more browns and oranges and just the tiniest amount of yellow for the brightest lights, probably, right?
The kind of mid-tone, believe it or not. And then you can go to like pale yellow, bright pale yellow for the highlights.
Warp Cave Studios. Hey, what's going on?
See if we have anything that kind of reads as bronze here in non-metallic. I've been doing so much gold.
I have not seen, to be honest, I have not seen you do a bronze non-metallic workup. I can't even recollect the model in the storage.
The plate armor on he's called Hank. He's one of the Hate models. Was a very close bronze.
This did Horus have some?
Horus is intended to be something not quite gold, right?
Okay. Oh, like on his shoulder there.
This could read as bronze. I would like to have it have a little bit more of that dingy orangish to it.
Okay.
If so, this has a lot of dark golden brown and then into the yellow ochre mix and the pale yellows. But you see, I'm not really leaning into much yellow. Same thing here. The only time you get yellow in it is when you get the glow from the OSL from the heat of the mace up onto the shoulder parts and like down low. And so that's why I did that, because I wanted to do kind of this heat glow on everything else, and that allows the bronze to be very neutral. So that's the intention here.
You're going to have to teach me how to do that head glow you got on him there. You see how, like,
Oh, yeah.
That's what I want to do on my Earthworm Jim diorama.
Oh, okay.
With Jim's head. That's cool. I love that. That model looks so good.
That's a good way to do it.
Cool.
Yeah, that's typically, and because I paint my gold very cool like that most of the time, you could see how it kind of reads that way. Like, technically, this could be bronze armor as well.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Right. That's very much how bronze does. It has that greenish brown undertone to it. We don't use a lot of real yellow. This is like yellow green mixed with pale yellow, and so you don't get a yellow really. You know, you're not getting that anywhere on it, but it still reads as a yellow. So you could play it off as tarnished gold or bronze.
I wonder if you could do like a glaze over that whole thing and make it just a totally different.
100%.
Yeah.
You better not ever do that.
Oh, no, I would never. But maybe if I had like a...
Here we go, Chad.
I would never do that.
Here we go, Chad.
Jason, I know better.
This is how Chris dies.
I would never.
And this is how it ends.
I would never do that. Hey, Jason, look at this. Look what I did. I tried them out. What do you think? What if I came in there very genuine and be like, hey, Jason, I just want to try this out, and I thought you'd love it.
I feel like that's what like your 5-year-old son does.
Yeah, I guess.
Trying to impress dad.
And then it's like, hey, I kind of want
to look, Dad, I did it. And you're like,
I kind of want to shoot you in the face.
You need to take a step back and take a breather for a second, or you're going to be in jail.
The silver sheet. Ew, what's with the pallet cam? What are you talking about, Silver Shield? That's for you. That's for the chat. That's for the people.
I told him nobody wants that, Chris.
Oh my. Oh my. Oh, I can't even joke with you anymore about that.
Nobody
that
wants
is
that,
up
Chris.
there for your viewing pleasure. Any recommendations for painting the inside of a white cape? Needs more of a pop to me.
Inside of a white cape. I like to not paint it white, right? I like burgundy tones or royal purpley kind of colors on the inside of white to set it off. If you want it to be white, try doing something that's darker, like a parchment color that gives contrast to how it looks from, the other side, the clean side, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I don't be afraid to do a two-tone, right? The inside being a liner, like your jacket liner, I think works really, really well. I think we have that here, as a matter of fact.
White cape?
So like on the lion, where we have a dirty, dusty white.
That's the other lion. Nice.
Right? And then like purple. I use purple and magenta to give it really just a dark, rich purple interior.
Nice.
And white. So that works really well. It allows you to introduce maybe another color to the model too. On this purple is a big chunk of the model because it's so visible from the front. This is another one where I would consider this to be bronze and not gold.
Okay. I always think of bronze. No, never mind. I was thinking.
No, literally when you work with bronze, it is a mix of, because it's copper and tin.
Copper and tin,
So
right.
it has a reddish, yellowish metal out of the copper.
Yeah.
Right? The ferrous side of it, and then the tin, which is pure silver.
Silver, yeah.
And so as it works, it's more of a what I would call an orangish gold, and then lots of silver in between. So if you can consider mixing gold and silver, that's what bronze is.
Okay. We'll have to do a bronze workup at some point.
Oh, we will, huh?
I think that would be an amazing thing you could do for us, we the people. And
oh,
you.
We will, huh?
What do you think of that idea?
I see how that works.
What do you think of that idea, Jason?
Oh, I think it's great, Christopher. I'm always thrilled with your ideas for helping we the people come up with really fun things on the stream.
Well, I couldn't have said it better myself. That's awesome. That's good.
Wow.
I like that. You heard it, chat. He's here for us. He's here for you. He's here for we. You heard him. Bronze, non-metallic gold. Yeah. Hey. This next, I'm gonna do it for you. We're gonna get this they're gonna get this bronze non-metallic metal going. What's this week, Chris? Does Chris have a mouse in his pocket? No.
That's what I ask him all the time. I'm glad there's somebody else out there that knows that one. Like, what, do you got a mouse in your pocket?
Mo says, I think that's a sarcasm. No, Jason, from what I've learned, is that Jason has never used sarcasm ever.
What does that mean?
Right.
Sarcasm.
Sarcasmi is the Latin version of that.
What is sarcasm?
Uh,
Christopher, what is how you say sarcasm?
I am not a sarcastic person. If you've all could tell. Only when I get snippy or sassy, I'll get a little sarcastic, you know?
Which is nearly never.
It never happens. I am not a sarcastic person. Maybe I am. Chris has a mouse in his pocket? This is the wrong stream for me, I think, says Chuck. Hey, take it easy, everybody. There's no mouse in this pocket.
We don't let him whip the mouse out very often.
No, and you take that to the bank. Unlike your sushi points there. Roadside Miniature says, speaking of fun things, I already like this sentence. I think your chat may have convinced my brother to paint his Volten using the Infinity Stones as the underlying theme for the color scheme across the army. Really? Votan using Infinity Stones? Interesting. I would like to see that. I don't know what Infinity Stone theme would look like. If you're talking about the colors, that's pretty cool.
The various colors, maybe?
Roadside Miniatures, that would be dope. Jade, welcome in. Jeremy says, Jeremy. We, the people, want a green-based tutorial and a painting that inside the sealed models tutorial. What? You've distanced yourself from both of us, Jeremy, and within that one statement.
What happened?
Jeremy says, we, the people, want a green-based tutorial and a painting the inside of a sealed model tutorial. I can't help you with that one, Jeremy. You had me at the beginning and lost me at the end. Oh, Alex, I know this is Alexander says, this is a great question, actually. How can I prevent losing my mind when trying non-metallic metal?
Where do you feel like you're losing your mind? I guess is the first question I would have for you. What's giving you the biggest problem?
Alexander, I don't know if you were actually joking, but this is actually a really good question because people do. There's a mental thing when it comes to like you have to get over that hump, right? 100%. Highlights. Alexander says highlights.
So that's what you're watching happen live right now. And I want you to focus on the fact that why this works and why I'm able to make this look now like steel is look at how dark the workup is before, and this is kind of unfair because I still have one layer to put on top of this, but if you look like here, look how dark this is before I'm putting the brightest color on, which is it's white blue, so it's nearly white, right? So the key when doing anything reflective, whether it's non-metallics or, shiny plastic, glass, whatever, is that you have to tune your brain to make that jump quicker than you normally would to go from whatever color you're working on to the brightest color you plan on using, right? So white blue is the brightest color I plan on using, and I've got to make sure that I have it ready to move to before I would normally do it, right? If I were just painting cloth or skin, I would have to blend another color in here because this would make it look too crazy, right? Because there's just too much brightness on it at this point. So it's taking that jump to your highlight so that you get that contrast that looks like reflective shine. And then once you understand that and are ready to make that jump, then you have to understand that, okay, well, the closer my dark color is to my bright color, the shinier it will look. So you'll see some places on here where I've got a bright line right next to my darkest color, which is almost that pure Payne's gray. Here on the toe, here on the side of the ankle, right? That's going to make it look like the dark color is no longer a shadow. It's the reflection of the ground, right?
Okay.
Because remember, and it's hard, I get it, because not all of this is as easy as we're trained to go from, you know, bright to dark. So like the blend on my red shoulder plates, these aren't trying to be shiny red metal. They're dull, right? I don't have a bright contrast anywhere, right? And so I just go bright where the light is and dull dark down below. That's not how reflective surfaces work. A lot of times the dark, like this line here on the top of the carapace, is like something in the environment. It's a building, it's a telephone pole, it's something else, right? This is not shadow. Right. Because that's at the top of the model. There wouldn't be a shadow there. That's the brightest part. Yeah. And so you have to start thinking in those terms as to, okay, well, you know, where would the reflection be? Like here, this is the reflection of the environment, the buildings and ground and everything else around him, right? And then you've got to drop a shine on top of that, or all around it in this case. So there's you know, a longer blend from bright to dark. So if you go and run a longer gradient from the, in this case, the bright pale yellow to whatever else, and you take a long time to do that, it'll look dull. It'll look like stainless steel. The closer you move that dark color over to your bright color, the shinier it becomes, like here. That's why this reflects and seems like a shine, because I have the darkest color on the carapace right next to the brightest color. And that's exactly how reflective things look. You know, we bring out the spoon. Yep. Right? Where is
use that spoon? It's right.
Oh, here it is. Right. We use this spoon as a way to show this off. Is the reflective polished area of the spoon? You can see my face, right? You can see the yellow lamp behind me, the white lamps, the photo lamps up here, and you can actually see the shape of the photo lamps. They're circular. Yeah. Right? Or they show us ellipses here, but there's all the photo lamps that we have in here for the video. You know, you can see random things on my desk, right? My hands, all that. Not quite mirrored. It's all distorted, and there's still some blend because the texture and fact that this is not polished allows that to go from very, very bright, where it's saturated with light on the reflection, and then it blends out to darkness that shows that texture, right? The grain of the metal, actually. But then it goes into darkness. That's not shadow. That's the ceiling, right? And so you can imagine, like, trying to paint this back of this spoon, it would look like an alien face, like two eyes and a mouth, and you'd have to then figure out, okay, where do I blend? How do I blend to make that appear metallic? Well, you'd put an edge highlight. See that edge highlight that shows up across here occasionally, and we overemphasize that a lot to give ourselves that that outline and that contrast there, and then maybe some blended reflection on there and things like that. This is one of the hardest things to paint, because it does have so much contrast that it could very easily just look like polka dots on a surface. So you've got to figure out, how do I give shape to that? How do I give volume to that? And it's happening here with like this reflection that's kind of creating this upside down horseshoe effect around the neck where the handle meets the dish of the spoon. And so you have to start learning the geometry of the shapes you're painting and how the light would bounce around on it, things like that. But the key of the takeaway from that is that the closer you put your brightest color and your darker color, the more it looks like reflection. And then you'll notice I blend away from my dark side, so I have more of a blend here before it gets over to dark again on this side, right? And that's just a trick I use on flat panels. Pick your bright reflection spot and blend in one direction and put darkness right against it in the other direction. And that works for swords and everything. You can see how the helm here, you just repeat it on pieces so that they kind of act the same all the way down.
Jeremy says, on a more serious note, your streams are motivating me to push through the ugly phase of my minis, and I'm realizing it's just going to look ugly until it doesn't. Thank you 100%. For that. Well, you talk about that all the time with 100%, skin. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's skin, right?
100%. I mean, like, look at these fingers on this. Let's take and well, let me work through the rest of this leg. Yeah. Right? And it happens constantly, especially when doing things like non-metallic metal, because they aren't going to allow you to work through all those transitions the same way. You're going to make quicker jumps, and so it isn't going to look like anything. It's not going to read the way you want it to read. It won't feel like metal until the end. Yeah. And that's frustrating, because a lot of times when we're painting, we just pick our base coat, and then we put our mid-tone, and then we put a highlight on there. And as you go, each stage makes it look better and better and better. And with non-metallic metal and certain other techniques, you wind up where it's like, good God, would this ever look like anything serious?
Well, yeah, you gotta trust the process. Gotta trust the process.
But until you have seen success with the process, that's very hard.
Mm.
You have to work through the heavy lifting phase and the ugly phase, if we want to call it that, to get to the reward, and then have it click.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
The first time it clicks is generally then everybody's like off to the races. Then they're not afraid to try new things. And you build that confidence through that. So I'm dropping what is basically a white over the top of a darker midtone and just leaving it. That's what I got to do here. But if you pick the right areas and you don't overdo it, then it starts looking like shiny surface.
Aaron says, what do you do when you go through the process, then hit the ugly phase at the very end? I don't know if that's a joke. I'm assuming, Aaron, that's a joke.
You mean like you feel like you should be done, but you're not happy? It still looks ugly at the end? Is that what you're saying?
Is that what you're saying, Aaron? What do you do when you go through the process, then hit the ugly phase at the very end? I read that very genuinely, like, that's actually a really complicated question. And then I read it in my jokey voice, and I'm like, oh, wait a second. That might be a joke.
The reality is there is messing up. And with let's just stay on the topic of non-metallic metal. Let's say you've blended too much to get to your final color. Let's say that my last layer was too bright, and I built up all my blends too much on this, so that as I drop this brighter white blue on there, I'm not getting that contrast, right? Mm-hmm. So if I were to do that, what does it leave me? It leaves me with having to go back and recreate that work again, like darken it up, maybe put a wash on it to darken up all the surfaces, and then go back and re-highlight. It's not unfixable. You just have to be able to recognize where you underdid or overdid a particular thing, because that's usually what it is. You either did put too much of something in the wrong spot. With non-metallic metal, it's that you lost reflective nature by losing contrast. That's all reading pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
On this guy.
Sir Blame says, what the hell? He was green yesterday. Yeah, he definitely, that's the magic. Well, we're one color one day, and then the next, we've got a glaze, we've got a bibbity bobbity boop, we got doots and deets, and now we're here.
Exactly what we're talking about. It's working through that process and knowing that, I underpaint a lot. So you'll come in and you'll see a model that's in a really funky color state. You'll be like, what is he doing? And I'm just setting the stage because I know that, hey, I want brown undertones on this particular thing. So I've painted some brown, even though I don't want the part to be brown, and it'll look funky until it doesn't, like that foot looked funky until it didn't. And now it looks like steel. So let's do the fingers, and I'll walk you through it. So right now on the fingers, all we have is a base of Payne's Gray.
Yep.
And then the beginning of our blend, which is Payne's Gray with just a touch of white blue to it. Okay. Now, the next stage is I need more white blue. The next stage is to add a little bit more white blue. Because I'm doing all this with just two colors, by the way. It's just Payne's Gray and white blue. A lot of the steel that I do will be in two colors, and then I might add an environmental color into it. If I need to. Like, he's got so much gold around this, maybe we'll put a little bit of a yellow glow or reflection on the steel that shows that, there's the rest of his armor is reflecting into it. Okay. But on this one, I'll come over here and I'll just take a little touch of the white blue and the Payne's Gray. Mm-hmm. And a little bit more of that white blue. So it starts to become a lighter. This is by no means a bright color, but it is brighter than where I started. So you have to tune your brain to think this way, right? So it's like this, okay? Yep. Probably a little bit more. All right, yeah, that's better. Okay, then I've got that mix that's starting to become light, and now I start looking at all of the fingers and finding my edges, my highlight area, right? And I leave some of that darkness behind, just get the top side of the finger here and the edge. I don't have to blend it too much, but I do want to make sure I'm leaving some of the darkness in between panel lines and things like that. I know I've got a brighter color, but my next color is my brightest color, or is going to be, right? So this still just looks like I'm painting him gray, blue-gray hands, right?
Right. Because what color is the gauntlet going to be the other side?
Hazard stripes, yellow and black.
Hazard stripes.
Yeah, I'm doing the whole
Super classic
old hammer.
I've
nonsense.
never seen that. That's cool. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And same thing back here, even on this. I should while I'm at it. I've failed to paint so many of these things along the way. Like the grill on top was supposed to be this color too, so.
I mean, you could go for it if you needed to.
Yeah, I need to.
Aaron says, in all seriousness, I find non-metallic metal difficult in a sense that I don't know where to place the highlights at all the time. I've done that take a photo approach, but in practice, it doesn't work out the way doesn't work out that way. It's a generalization. You need a skill to know where to place them and how much. Yeah,
Yep,
it takes some time. It's really what it is, Aaron.
100%.
Just practice.
It takes doing it over and over and over again and failing and picking it up. The ability to use reference material is good, but you can't always get, dead on reference material. The things that I tell people to go look for is like, silver ball. And you see how a silver sphere, like a ball bearing, highlights,
right.
And that can help you paint a Space Marine shoulder pad, right? Because it'll feel like the Space Marine shoulder pad is just like 1/4 of a sphere. And so you start thinking in those terms, and if you can get your brain wrapped around that, then you'll start to be able to find all sorts of really good reference material that helps. The human body and the human form, for instance, are largely made up of spheres and cylinders, right? So if you can get used to painting cylinders and spheres with that type of reflective highlight, then you've got most of it handled.
Yeah.
Legs, arms, fingers are cylinders. Torso, cylinder, right? And then head, shoulders, knees are spheres.
And toes?
No, toes are cylinders. But knuckles are spheres.
Well, you said head, shoulders, knees.
Knees and toes. I got it.
I know. I'm sorry. You knew that was coming. You had to deep down.
I got it, Chris.
Okay, all right. Sorry. I didn't mean to derail there.
I got it, Chris. I got it.
No derailing. We're back. Pixel says, how much do you thin your paints, or are the paints wet enough out of the bottle?
We have a great video up on the YouTube channel where it talks about how I paint only with the dampness on my brush. Mm-hmm. And so as you're watching me paint, it's really just controlling the amount of wetness on the brush at any given time. That's it. It's that simple. So I might, like all of us, I'll go and clean my brush in the cup. And when you get done taking the brush out of the cup after rinsing it, you've got however much water the brush will hold, right? It's at saturation point because you've dipped it in water. So whatever's on it is all that can be on it. It can't take any more water. It all just, falls off at that point. And so then you determine, okay, well, what am I trying to do with this paint color that I'm using? Am I trying to glaze with it? If so, maybe wipe off a little bit of the water onto a paper towel, but not all of it, because you're going to want to have the water on the brush act as the thinner for the paint you're about to dip the brush into, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, being able to control the amount and viscosity of the paint on the brush by wiping it on a paper towel is how I paint.
Yeah. And I just linked that video there to you, Pixel. That is the video that he is referencing, the thumb palette video. Pixel says, "Thank you very much. I'll check it out after the stream." Yeah, there's a lot of cool tips on there.
here. I'm just trying to match the way the shine that I've set on the carapace is as I do these vents, doohickeys, whatever these things are.
What is that? It is a vent.
Yeah, it's like a vent.
For the jetpack on the back or the...
They don't have jetpacks. That's like his power.
Oh.
Like the vent where the power
Is it
exhaust
glowing?
would be or something. Like, Space Marines have the
that's
globes
true.
on their
Right.
backpacks. These
Yep.
guys have these big vents on the back.
Jeremy says, learning about underpainting felt like unlocking a cheat code.
It's really, really powerful because a lot of what we paint feels like you have to know what color goes over the top of what color to get the gist, and it doesn't feel right because skin is the one that I use as a reference all the time. Because in general, skin, when you go back and you glaze color on top of skin, it looks like maybe you spilled wine on it. Let's say you go back with some magenta to make the cheeks a little bit more rosy and flush on a model.
Yeah.
And you do that, and if you're really, really good at glazing, it can look great, right? We show you how to do that. If your glazing is a little too thick, or your blend doesn't come out just exactly right, it can look like you spilled grape juice on the model or something, right? Because you get these splotches of color, and skin doesn't work that way unless there's a problem.
Yeah.
And so as you're looking at it, you realize that there was a time in my life where I'm like, oh, all the color in skin is underneath the skin, right? Because the skin itself is translucent. It has coloring to it, and unless you're an elephant, the guts underneath and the fatty cells and the blood vessels and tissues and muscles are what are causing color in your skin. Because there is green in my skin now, but even the ink for my tattoo is actually under the skin. It's subdermal, right? Which is why it stays. But the greenish yellow of the arteries and veins and pinkishness of the capillaries as they rise to the surface in your knuckles and such, right? All that color is the blood and guts underneath. And so I started looking for ways to paint that and found like Verdaccio, or I forget what it's called, that the old painting style where they used a lot of greens and stuff underneath the skin because they just didn't have the pigment colors back in the day to paint all the colors of skin. Nowadays we have all the colors of skin, so you could just technically paint the skin tone, but at the end of the day, it still doesn't have all those nuances to it. And so if you paint those first and then you glaze skin tone over the top, you're like, oh, right? Wow, like we did with Antonio El Tigre. Antonio Tigre, right? Is the last video we did where we did the royal purple and the red oxide and the bright yellow green underneath the skin and pop in close.
Yeah.
And then you glaze the skin tone over the top, and all of a sudden you've got the ability to. Or are you trying to adjust?
Just a little bit for you. Yeah, there it is.
Go. Right, and even with rough, non-blended strokes, you can see the bright yellow green gives you that yellowishness at the top of the skin, and that warms it up, but also gets that kind of, there's not a whole lot between the skin other than fat and the skin of the forehead.
Yeah.
But then the pinch of the muscles around the eye gives you a little bit more of that red, and then down towards the 5 o'clock shadow or the beard, you get the purple. And so you start utilizing how the aspects of skin look when you're staring at it, but you paint some of those colors on first rather than glazing them on after the fact. And it gives you better blending. It gives you more of a realistic sense of skin, and it can be a lot of fun. And then you start using it on everything else, armor, whatever. A more realistic way to generate shadows.
Yeah.
Paint the darkness first, glaze everything on top.
And would you, Finn is asking, would you use this technique even on small models like Warhammer? The face stuff you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we can show you on this guy. He's got a little bit of a bigger face. The scaling is a little different, so you don't have as much of an opportunity to. But yes, there's actually a video on YouTube, I think, that's the Space Marine Lieutenant's head that we did that way. And I'll show you like how I would do it in a smaller scale. It's even easier, technically, because you don't have as much space to play with. So it is super dry here. Right now.
It is very dry.
Isn't that crazy?
We're
like, I'm noticing that paint is drying up on the palette so much quicker than it has been in the last month or so.
It's starting to get to that.
It's that heat.
It's that
It's
time.
so hot now. It's like over 100 today. So
It's 101. Ridiculous.
Okay, so this is now we're to the point to where we just have a little bit of the Payne's gray still, and mostly white blue.
You said a little bit of Payne's gray, a little bit of light
A
blue.
little bit of Payne's gray, mostly white blue. Not totally white blue, obviously, but this gives us that final little spot of brightness. But again, if I continue to blend, then I'll lose the idea of metal and reflection. At some point in time, I've got to stop and jump to a very bright color. Otherwise, it doesn't look like a reflection anymore. It just looks like you painted, like we were talking about, just painted gray.
Skeletor says, I'm glad I'm not the only one struggling painting in this heat.
No, definitely not.
You can tell, especially here, it starts to dry out.
Yeah, I get to the point where during the course of the winter, I will put more paint out on my palette here in Arizona. And then it gets to this time of the year and you're like, nope, can't be doing that anymore. Okay.
Finn says it was 40 yesterday and 50s today in MA. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep, it's 101 here.
All
Ghost
right.
Hunter says I'll send some humidity from my swamp.
Ah,
Keep your humidity. We don't want that.
keep remembering all these other things I haven't painted. So horrible.
What are you gonna do the gun?
That's the thing, right?
Oh,
I have Payne's gray on all these parts of the gun, and I just haven't been paying attention to them. This is my standard when I'm painting. Because I don't plan my colors out, I'm just like, oh, I'm focused on the leg. And then I'm like, oh, but there's all sorts of things that I said were going to be the same color.
I do not. I kind of do the same thing. I've had to really organize myself, though, with the gargants because that skin workup, that hide, that iron or that rhino hide, I gotta really, that's like, if I don't remember that, it's not going to look, I'm going to forget.
You kind of got to do it all at once.
Yeah. Hey, look at that. 3 p.m.
What?
Welcome in, everybody. This is the top and the bottom of the hour.
It is not the top and the bottom. It's not the bottom of the hour.
This is the bottom and the top. This is the top and the bottom.
They are not the same.
It just flipped over. Welcome in, everybody.
It's the top of the hour.
The
bottom of the hour is the 30-minute mark.
We are painting up some beautiful old hammer today. This is Jason. We are Monument Hobbies. Thank you for choosing us as wow.
He's good at his job, folks.
Somebody just
I
just had a small stroke and I'm back.
He gets paid for this.
Here we go. Thank you for choosing us today for your viewing pleasure. That's what I tried to say until I just had a small death moment. I saw the light and I strayed away. And yeah, we're painting up some old hammer here today. It's a fun time.
He's a paid
wow.
professional. Chad.
How the heck? What is going on with me? Somebody check my heart rate. What's going on?
Paid professional.
I'm live. Here we go. Take a sip of water.
Paid.
That's good.
Professional. Chat.
Speaking of paid professionals, Prisoner, 8 months. Thank you so much. Thank you for that sub. Yeah, I need to reboot. Thumb Palette. That's right. I'm back. Wow. Who knows? I just went to another planet. Apparently. But anyway, yeah, we've been painting up some beautiful old hammer. We had Jordan on this week. Jason took a day off, but really didn't.
Yeah, I kind of really didn't.
We have got more old hammer coming for you next week, and then you only got 3 days of Jason next week, y'all.
Only 2. Remember, it's Memorial Day Monday, so only Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh my goodness. You're so right.
Yeah,
and I scheduled you for stream, and you accepted it.
I did
that
not.
was a test.
I did not accept it.
You actually did.
I didn't.
You did.
I didn't. It was a test for you.
I will bring up. Oh.
It was a test for you.
I'm working.
See.
What are you doing?
I'm here.
I'm here. I'm here on the 26th. It says Jason has accepted this day.
You went on to my computer. You lion sack.
I did not. Did you just call me a lion sack?
You lion sack.
Yeah, lion sack.
And you accepted your own meeting in my stead. That's almost unbelievable. Was it from anybody else?
I see. I'm going to be here. Are you?
Heck no.
What? You accepted it, though.
The air conditioner's making funny noises.
No, that is the Synology. Because Ryan's editing off of it. Progress. I'm going to put the Synology over by
Yeah, it needs
our
to go
desks.
someplace else.
Um,
That's annoying as hell.
Okay, yes. Do you Ghost Hunter says, do we get to say happy birthday to Jason next week? Yeah. I would say so.
We got to do something fun on Wednesday.
We will. Oh, we will.
We got to do something fun on Wednesday. Because I won't be here. Generally, we have something fun for my birthday stream where we do some giveaways and stuff.
Well, I have some potentials. Actually, here's a fun fact. Rattlecan, I know you're out there. We got your message. Rattlecan is gave us some Dauntless brushes to give away.
What, Rattlecan?
Yep, Rattlecan. If you're out there, I saw you earlier in chat. So,
thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, Rattlecan. Maybe we'll give those away on Wednesday. Do a little giveaway impromptu-ness.
That would be fun.
A little bit.
That would be fun. I approve. I'll add some into the mix. I never take gifts very well, but I give them. So we'll have some fun.
Oh, Jason will receive many things that day.
Oh, Jesus.
Little does he know that there will be additional phases of Wednesday.
Okay, so here we are.
Oh.
Now you can see, so we've worked up the Payne's Gray and White Blue combo to this level. And this is still very dark, right? This is not highlighted. This is a very dull blue-gray kind of a workup. It's not super bright, but we're starting to build some contrast and volume. You can see where I'm directing my shine across the back of the vents there in the mid-tone, but I don't have anything that's as bright as like the pale yellow on the gold or the white blue down here on the steel leg. Now's the time where you have to jump to that, and it seems illogical. It's like the worst thing in the world as you're learning to paint non-metallic metal to make this jump. This is the part that hurts, and I'm telling you that you got to be here for it, right? So look at this gun.
Yep.
It's pretty dark, and we're about to put this on it. Okay?
Whoa.
And for every other way you paint, this is wrong. You would never paint your Space Marine armor this way and then like do this. Just go. Broop.
Oh, I see. And that's just because of the shape.
Well,
kind of, right?
Well, I'm saying you wouldn't do it because it's too bright for the surrounding colors.
Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Right? It's just too damn bright. But here, it's perfect to equal reflection. Right? The first thing I do is I go find where I want my brightness to go. And I've already defined that with my mid-tone color pretty much.
Right.
And with all my gold.
Okay. Yeah, I can tell. It's definitely a big jump. And it's definitely very defining.
Yeah. And it's the thing that makes hard surfaces look hard and shiny is that you give them the edge detail that stands out, whereas normally we would call this like Tron suit. You know, it looks like the Tron movie.
Right.
And why are you outlining everything in bright colors, right? You wouldn't do cloth this way, but for hard surfaces, that's exactly how light travels. It reflects from a certain spot, and then it travels along any edges that reflection spot hits.
Yep. Interesting.
And as you start adding that brightness along the edges and at those reflective spots, that's when it starts becoming non-metallic metal. So this is the most important part, is this color that fries your brain because you're like, no, it's not time to put a bright color like that on the model. And it is. It's exactly the right time. It's the fact that you have to keep these lines very narrow. In this case, especially at scale for Space Marines and stuff, I can't do big chunky lines. That'll ruin it.
Yeah.
I don't want to outline everything. Like you notice this line is bright up front, right? Heavier, thicker line up front where the bulk of the shine wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
But if I want to then take that and do a little bit of shine on this back edge, I really just want to put like maybe a dot at the corner.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I mean, and here's the other thing too. This model is so angular too.
Yeah.
That. Yeah, I see what you're. I like that.
Right, and then on this back edge here, maybe another little bright dot and a hair thin line on it, so that it gives it dimension. So this is where you're just framing everything in. You're no longer sketching. You're being very, very deliberate with where you're putting your color at this point. Okay. I can even do a thin line across the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to make the thin line on the bottom as long as whatever I do on top. Because always ask yourself, where would the brightness live? It would live on the area close to my light source, which is the top. But I might get a little reflection back from the ground on the bottom. Okay. This piece here that's glowing across the top might cause me to get a little thin line of glow right across here.
So you always cap non-metallic with white, basically.
Not with white, just a very bright version of whatever color you've decided to use for the body. I've used no white on this model at all.
Or near white, yeah.
There's no white on here, right?
What color
it's
are you gonna
bright pale yellow on the gold.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And white blue on the steel.
What color are you going to make the gun? Like
I don't know yet.
It
could be green.
Is there a classic color?
There's like greens and reds. They had the bodies of the guns would be all sorts of crazy colors.
And why did they do hazard stripes? Like what was the reasoning behind that?
Because they smoked too much pot? I don't know.
There was zero reason. It's just like
no
hazard
reason
stripes.
at all, right?
Huh. Ghost Hunter says the brightness lives in you. Oh, wow.
Okay. I'll take that.
That's deep. Okay. The brightness lives inside of you. There you go.
Okay.
I'm assuming, Ghost Hunter, that's how you wanted me to pitch that, so you're welcome. I accept invoices in the mail, by check, and by carrier pigeon.
If he invoices you, you have to pay him.
I have to pay Ghost Hunter?
If he invoices you, that's how that works.
No, he can send the invoice to me.
Then you have to pay it.
Oh, I got to send
You
the
gotta
invoice to him.
invoice
Oh,
him.
my gosh. Thank you. I almost
Jesus.
lost money. Thank you.
Paid professional,
Thank
chat.
you.
Paid professional.
Thank you so much. Sorry. Today is not my day, chat. That's what I've been told by many people.
But I want you to look at how dark this looks now. Now that you can see brightness on here, this looks like we've only painted it one color. Right? This little area up here.
Right.
But once you get that brightness on there, it all starts playing together to where I have mid-tone, shadow, darkness, everything I need to create the idea of reflection. So it is 100% having the courage to make this jump from your, kind of mid-brightness, mid-tones, up to your brightest color. It's that simple. I find myself searching for a way to get people to have their AHA moment based on this singular thought process of how do I get people to understand that they just need to make that jump to brightness earlier. Because 99% of the problem is that. Okay. Now there is part of the problem that becomes, okay, you're doing too thick of an outline on your highlights, right? You're blocking out some things. So line width makes a difference. You want thicker bands of brightness where the actual main reflection is. Say like this line here, the line across the top of the magazine, right? This line here when compared to the way I'm trying to do a thin line on the front of the barrel, stuff like that. So you want to have varied line weight as you move around. And the thicker line is where the light is hitting directly, and the thinner lines are where it is trailing off or indirect. Make sense? And that gives you a much better way to have all that reflect.
Nice.
Yeah, because look at this.
Yep.
This side of the gun looks unpainted. And that is only just adding one more color.
Look at that. Just a great bit you just did there for me. It's a great bit. Take it. We'll take it.
On the back side, I'll do the same shapes, right? Because we're painting cylinders, whether they're horizontal or vertical is irrelevant. They shine the same way.
Sir Blame. Cool how one color can change so much.
Yeah. But here I'm diluting the white blue down so that it is a lot less opaque, so that the lines I put on here won't be as bright, right? If I dilute the opacity, just water on my brush again, I'll do the exact same lines here, but with less opaqueness, I nearly said, opacity. You think I've been saying these words my whole life.
Opacity,
I know what they are.
opacity.
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 I hate you. Auto parts.
Opacity. I'll never do that again.
He should be fired.
Well, you don't like the jingles.
I don't like.
You know
the
which
jingles
jingle
being
I like
put
the
in
most.
my head. I will kill you.
I knew it. Do you want to know what Gabe does every time he sees a living spaces? He'll send me a picture.
I will kill you.
I'll never do that ever again in front of Jason. I need that. I need a record of that. It's a great song. Agrippa says, it's just paint. Never be afraid to try. Worst consequence is painting over and starting again, and that means getting to paint more. It's a good point.
Good attitude.
That's a great attitude you got there, Agrippa. Keep it real, as the kids say.
They don't say that anymore. The kids that said that are now in their 30s, Christopher. Just letting you know.
I mean,
just letting you know.
I guess so. Maybe I'm the kids.
Letting you know.
Maybe I'm the kids now. I just turned 97 yesterday, so I'm an old man.
Hell of a run you've had.
Hell of a run. Seen a lot my day. Law Dog says, I bet Jason still remembers the Jim Adler and the Texas Hammer advertisements and can recite it.
This does not sound familiar to me. What is this?
Really?
Remember, I'm not from Arizona if that's an Arizonan thing.
Jim Adler, the Texas Hammer.
Does not sound familiar.
Jason's not a jingle guy. Okay? We've established that. And I've paid the price dearly.
As you should.
I don't sing my favorite songs like a songbird in the office.
For risk of death.
Something. Death. Wow. I thought firing was the thing, but no, this is just straight murder.
Yeah. Pretty much. Violence.
Jim Adler was a lawyer with constant TV commercials from Dallas.
Oh, I'm from Dallas, so maybe so.
Call Jim Adler the Texas Hammer. I don't bark, I bite. Huh.
Possibly. Although you have to understand, I left Dallas in, 1900s. It sounds funny to say that, but yeah, like 1997.
Finn has a great question. What will be done on the bottom of the magazine where the light isn't really hitting it at all? Do you still put the bright color on there?
I've put a couple of layers of shade back here. Yeah. I mean, there's a world where you can say, hey, I'm going to take this bright color thin down like this, and I'm just going to blend it over to where the light side is.
Sure.
With a quick glazing like that.
Right.
And then you just leave it alone. There's no need to do anything else. Now, I could outline it if I wanted to, but typically I don't. I'm really worried about this end of it.
Yeah.
And that it does have some paint, right? See? I've blended on. Same with the bottom of the barrel. It's not that I care a whole lot. Now, because the barrels are cylinders, there's a world where you could take, again, a thin down version of this paint, and you could do a small linear reflection like that. That's like, the ground reflecting back up in it real quick to get some shape that doesn't detract from the side. Because a cylinder will have other lines of reflection on it like this. You just don't want to do them as bright.
Man, we are so spoiled with the new models today.
Oh my God! Like the Saturnine Terminators are incredible.
Literally like
Absolutely incredible. If you think you're not going to see Saturnine Terminators on this channel, you're insane. I'm going to paint the hell out of those things. Is that what you're talking about?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, just like in general, I'm looking at these guys, right? And then just thinking about the current models of today.
Oh, yeah. Oh, just in general.
Just in general.
Gotcha,
you're talking about the new ones or something?
Yeah.
Oh, the new Horse
the
Heresy
new Horse
ones.
Heresy Saturnine Terminators.
I haven't seen them.
Oh my god, dude. They are so insanely awesome. It's like my childhood reared back up. It's so great. So great.
Oh, wow.
The trailer's amazing. The trailer's got Constantine Valdor in it. It's incredible. It's got Malkador the Sigillite, Constantine Valdor, talking about the line from the books where they're discussing in the Emperor's Palace, what this could equal if what they've heard about Istvan is true. And the drop site massacre, and he's like, well, it depends. Malkador's like, it depends on how many have been corrupted, or how many have joined with Horus.
Oh, these are dope.
It's amazing.
Huh. Dang, that's a big tank. Oh, Philip was showing me that.
Yeah, they did the Space Marine Super Heavy in plastic. Holy balls.
That's a huge tank. Oh, my tank. Wow, this is a big deal. There's a lot.
Yeah, this is a huge release. My. Huge release.
What? That's crazy. Saturnine?
Yeah, Saturnine was cool. The original mark of Terminator armor.
Oh, dude, look at that. Those are
graphics.
Cool models.
And they are freaking huge. They're like nearly half again as tall as the current Terminators.
Oh my.
They're insane, dude.
Oh,
and the Saturnine Dreadnought is even bigger. It's bigger than the
I'm seeing it. It is huge.
It stands an extra head and a half taller than the current biggest Dreadnought.
Oh, that's a very interesting. Oh my. It's almost like half the size of an Imperial Knight.
It's insane.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is bigger than like one of the War Dogs, the little Knights.
Okay. Oh, there's a bunch of turrets too. Like, oh, okay. Cool vehicles. Wow. That's a huge deal right now. Huh. Okay. I see you.
And in the time it took him to look at that, look at me. I got some steel vents.
He's got some steel vents up here. Anyway. Flapjack, they look so goofy. The Reacher 5 Terminators. The trailer was nuts. Yeah, very cool models. Chuck says, when you're painting, I'm noticing you barely kiss the brush on the Mini. 100%. I'm definitely going to need to improve on that.
100%.
I've noticed that as well. It's funny you mentioned that. I was thinking about that. It's like there is some real truth in the deets and doots, and really just barely putting it on there, right?
Yep.
Stippling. It's kind of like you can tell like the stippling is something that I just need to do rather than going quick.
Yeah. It's patience, right? Because you'll see me a lot of times if you are paying that kind of attention, you'll see me come in, and we talk about it a little bit, is that I will make brush strokes that don't hit the model.
Yeah.
And then between them each time push a little closer in until I start seeing color, and then I know how to control it. So I'm setting it up like these tiny little lines. I don't want to just smack it with the paintbrush. I want to give myself a little bit of a head start. And then then maybe you find your comfort zone. But a lot of people will just smack the brush against the surface, and you get a much thicker line than you want, and you lose a lot of that control. And so you really need to find a way to be patient enough to get your brush set right with the right amount of paint on it, get a nice point, and then get in here and instead of, I want a line immediately, get in there and kind of draw the line until you finally start seeing a little bit of paint hit, and then the next one, a couple movements until I finally start seeing some paint hit, and then press a little bit harder and get it on there. Next one, same thing. Next one, same thing. And then finally just a little dot because I'm trying to make like a pyramid shape as it goes up into shadow there. Right? And boom. It's that easy. Ta-da. Just finish the owl.
It's interesting. These models, man, I just like them.
The old ones?
Yeah.
They have a lot of character.
They speak to me.
Yeah, they have a lot of character. They should.
Now, here's kind of like a simple question. So, what is exactly heavy metal? What is that style?
I don't know. They call themselves the heavy metal paint team.
Okay, it's not really that style, though. Or
yeah, it became its
become
own
a
style, right? It became its own style because there wasn't anybody else really doing it at that level where they were, making sure that they had the group that was painting it were painting it all very similar because they created a design cue, a guide for GW on how they wanted their stuff to look. And so it had, thick edge highlights. The original edge highlights went on all sides. They just outlined the whole panel. It wasn't about lighting direction, and the people that were doing it maybe didn't have tremendous education and value, but they had some shade. They had a base tone, a highlight, and then an outline and a wash.
They just outline everything.
Yeah, in a lot of cases. Yeah,
it's almost like drawing or like.
If you look at the old ones, some of them were like, "What is the purpose of this?" And then there were ones. I mean, you can go back to the original, paintings, and they're still really good.
Yeah,
they hold up. The paint was done very well.
For back in the day, I guess, because as that was coming out, it was all brand new.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
It's like how and why would I paint models like this that are not military models or something like that?
Yeah, 100%. And it really is just a style that developed out of the GW or the Citadel studio, as it were.
Northrex says super crisp painting with strong edge highlights and minimal texture looks great on packaged photography.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it just became the design cue that made the minis look good in old photography and on box art and everything in the magazine because, this is the pre-digital age. This is where they had to take photos.
Right. Yeah, and they could not do any photoshopping on them.
Right.
Which is you can Photoshop anything. But, I get it. That's a tool that they just didn't have, so you just had to take a film photo of it. Jeremy says, I switched over to the Dauntless Synthetics today, and I'm super happy with them.
Awesome. That's what I'm using right now, Dauntless
news.
#1.
I'm going to use them tonight.
I've been painting all my models with them since they came out. Well, since longer than they came out, because I've been using them for over a year.
Little Easter egg tip for you all. When you go back and watch past VODs and you see a white-handled brush, that was the Dauntless Synthetic tester brush. It's right over there. Cool. This is looking great. I'm very excited for you to paint the face.
Yeah, it's kind of like this black hole in the middle of his chest right now, right?
But you said that's probably better to do last for light, right?
Well, I don't know. I'm having fun painting all the non-metallic bits. So for me, it's like it'll be interesting to paint it, but there's a world where you could paint the skin first. It really is up to you. Like dealer's choice at that point.
Deadbeat artist says, people talking about film like it's stone tablets and chisels. That is one of my luxury hobbies that I will eventually start at some point. Not yet, but I would like to buy an old film camera. It's one of my, or not even an old film camera. I would just like to shoot on like an RE Flex before I die. Do some classic film photography and videography.
See how those two little deets right there, those two little dots add so much because it can be like the reflection of the skin of the armor back into the hand, and it brings dimension into something that would otherwise be dark and detail-less. So being able to use reflection to catch corners, like the bottom of the finger here just kind of disappears, right? It has highlight on top and looks good, but then when we turn it to the side, where does that finger wind up? It goes away. So if I bring a little bit of reflective edge on the area, even though I'm using a very bright color against almost black here, need more paint, this will help define the rest of the shape of the finger. So don't be afraid to do this, come around into the darkest recesses of the model and just catch a little bit of shine. Like that. And maybe a little bit on the bottom of the forefinger there. Same paint. It's all just the white blue. Just less or more diluted. It's not as bright. And there I wind up with definition now in the shadows, even though I didn't, paint a whole lot. But these have to be tiny lines. The biggest gripe is when people come in to do these small details and put big thick lines on these areas, because then it's too much.
I like that.
Right. Now I have shape on all of it, but I didn't brighten up, the dark reflective spots. Again, controlling the paint. So I don't have a lot of paint on the brush. I'm getting rid of it on my thumb palette, which allows the point of the brush to be very specific in how much paint it can deliver. I'm not going to get a big blob of paint unless I do something, like sneeze and jam the paintbrush into the model. I'm just going to get a very nice ability to do a fine line here.
Just a couple deets and a couple doots.
That's all it is.
Looking great.
And just enough moisture on the brush to let, this little bitty number 1 have paint flow off of it very nicely. You get the brush too wet and the paint starts to get watery and starts to skate off the brush onto the model in weird ways.
Little itty bitty fingers. Now, when you do the hazard stripes, is it painted on? Right, they'll be painted on essentially.
Oh yeah,
like decals, right? Obviously, you're painting the model.
Yeah,
they're more decals than in the metal itself.
Oh no, they won't have depth, right?
Right.
You don't highlight them as individual lines really, because they're just
straight up paint.
Yeah, it's just paint. That's what we talk about a lot with regard to doing freehand stuff, is that you have to be careful. You have to just, I see a lot of people do hazard stripes and they'll highlight the black stripe with a gray edge highlight and the yellow stripe with a bright yellow highlight. And it makes it look like they're physically, like if you rubbed your hand across it, it would go as it hit the lines. And that's not the way that is. So the black and the yellow themselves don't highlight. The arm that, like the glove will highlight. Right. And so the black and the yellow might get brighter wherever my highlight on the arm is, but it's the metal of the arm highlighting, not the stripes.
Right.
That throws a lot of people off, right?
Alexander says, it's the itty bitty committee. Thanks for letting me say that out loud, Alexander.
That was awesome.
Made my day. There you go. Doesn't take much, folks. You heard it here. The itty bitty committee. That's great. Anytime. Thank you. Hey, speaking of anytime, it's 3:32 p.m. here in Phoenix, Arizona. That's Mountain Standard Time for all of you who don't know what Mountain Standard Time is. That is a unit of measure of time inside the United States of America, not an oil company. Jason's painting up some old hammer. And hey, guess what? Big news next week. Tuesday, we will be launching our heavy body acrylics. So please stay tuned for that. Check your Discord
Finally,
Tuesday
for crying
morning
out loud.
and check our socials Tuesday morning. Those will be live. And you're going to just love them. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to get some, Jason.
Good.
You've taught me the ways.
Good. That's awesome.
It's great. It's huge news. Flapjack says, "Oh man, the Saturnine Dreadnought looks incredible.
Isn't it? I'm stoked.
It's a beast."
Big kudos. GW did the right thing. They have Mark II armor. We're hiding behind the fact that all the models, all the Marines in that box are Mark II armor, which is my favorite.
What does that mean?
Mark II is the armor that has the banded legs.
Oh,
basically the whole set is able to make these guys.
For real?
Banded legs
dude,
with fan jump packs.
You're
They have
so
the fan jump packs. I still won't use those Marines because they're not Primaris scale. So, but the Saturnine are so big that they will fit in perfectly with my Primaris scale Heresy army.
Dude.
So
nice.
my Heresy Blood Angels that I'm making, I can get the Saturnine armored dudes because they're so much bigger than the regular Terminators. Because realize my Terminators are ginormous, right? So my Terminators are ginormous.
Oh, wait.
Because they're Primaris scale Terminators.
Are these not GW
These are not
models?
GW. There's a bunch of GW parts on these, but the bodies are printed.
Got it.
The arms and stuff are mostly GW arms, and like the shields and the thunder hammers and all of that. The crests are all GW.
I didn't realize
the
that.
bodies are all
chonky,
and the OG style with the studs and things like that. So like in the scale, I mean, this guy's in Terminator armor, and this is a Terminator. They're Primaris scale Terminators. So against Primaris scale Marines, these Terminators make sense.
Oh, I see.
See how chunky they are?
Yes.
At the same scale. So the Saturnine are bigger than the normal Terminators, which means that they'll fit in with this Primaris scale stuff because now I have Primaris scale normal Marines that work better, Primaris scale Terminators, and then the Saturnine guys will really fit in there great.
That's going to be fun. You should paint one of those up on stream.
Oh, I'll paint a whole squad of them. You just watch me.
Oh, I'll watch you.
We'll do some Blood Angels, Saturnine Terminators. Heck yeah!
I'll literally.
Although my whole army is all Assault Marines with jump packs, so I don't know what where the Saturnine fit in, but whatever.
Hey, tomato.
Gotta have some ground troops, I guess. Papa Chicken.
Speaking of
who's what is ginormous. Welcome. Where have I been?
Where have you been, Papa Chicken?
Sat down for too long and made an unintentional visit to Naptown.
So Deadbeat Artist is asking, where'd you get those guys?
Deadbeat, send me a PM and I'll go back in my emails and figure it out. I don't remember the name. I apologize.
But
I have emails of all of that stuff.
They're cool
catalog,
looking.
So
they're super cool looking.
Yeah, they're rad. But they do all the Heresy Mark II armor and stuff like that. So
Kyle, God bless him, gave me some cool Horus Heresy, like Sons of Horus models.
Dude, you gave them to Alex.
No, different models. I bought those for her birthday.
That's awesome.
She's
super stoked.
Oh my gosh, she's super into it.
She came into my office today showing them to me, and I was like, oh, those are going to be rad.
Yeah.
She's already got some ideas for what she wants to do. I was like, so do you know anything about the lore? Like what chapter you want? And she's like, I'm going to paint them really cool colors and make them look like they have battle damage. And I was like, off to a great start. Love your attitude.
That's great. That's awesome. That's what it's all about, man. I love that feeling. Ghost Hunter, Alex sounds great. Yeah. She's great.
Chris's cousin.
Yep. She's my first cousin.
In order to work here, you have to have a family member we want to hire as well.
Oh my gosh. Oh man.
That's a
she's stoked. She's gonna have some. She's gonna do them up great too. It's funny, like when you watch somebody for the first time build the model, like build a GW model, it's a little intimidating.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of parts.
In that book, when you open it up, it's just like,
yeah,
because there's 20 Space Marines in that box.
Yep.
So, no, he gave me old Sons of Horus models. Whatever that is.
Whatever that is.
They're cool.
You know what that is.
They're super studded.
Yeah.
They have like a bunch of spikes on them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, really? Yeah. Yeah, really? Really, Chris? Really? That sounds cool, Chris. Thanks.
You making fun of me again?
I appreciate that, Chris. That was awesome.
Jason's been snippy with me lately, chat.
I appreciate you bringing that into my life. That was great.
He's been real snippy. What are you doing?
I feel like I know so much more about you now, Chris.
Jason, what are you doing right now?
I'm putting paints back where they go, Chris, because nobody else seems to want to do it.
Jason, HBDC Craze.
Am I not supposed to be doing this?
Jason Josh Craze.
I am. Damn it. How did that happen? My name is not Josh.
Jason Joshua Craze.
I am not Josh. You don't even know.
Papa Chicken, no. Chris does Chris have as many cousins as he has children? No.
More.
I have a lot of cousins, actually.
More.
I have a big family.
Even more.
Jason, Jake, Josh, Craze. What are you doing?
I have no idea. I'm getting paint out.
Oh, you're just going for it right now.
So that I can get more paint. I feel like I had crossed the threshold of enough paint that I shouldn't get any more out until I use what I have.
What are you doing right now, though?
I'm underpainting skin on a Marine. That's what everybody wanted.
You're doing this right now?
Like, absolutely right now, Christopher.
So
this is what's happening.
Tell us what you're doing.
So we're going to start painting the face here in this 20 minutes we have left, just to piss Chris off on a Friday. He's going to have to stay late. And we're going to underpaint because somebody asked, one of our wonderful viewers asked earlier, can you underpaint at this scale? And we're going to. Like right now, you can't even tell what his face looks like because our matte black primer is so matte black that you can't see any details. But we're going to start with royal purple, red oxide, and bright yellow green. And I'm going to show you how to do this and then glaze skin over the top. And this is going to go super quick because this scale doesn't allow us to do a whole lot, right? It's very little space, but it still works and allows us to build up a really cool color very, very fast that is adds a little bit more depth, or a lot more depth, actually, than just doing like dark flesh, mid-tone flesh, bright flesh. There's so much of that just feels like you're wearing a leotard. This is the way I put it. Feels like you're wearing like a costume when you just paint in triads. All these companies come out with their perfect triads, and it's like, if I want to paint blue, I don't want it to necessarily be dark blue, more mid blue, bright blue, more bright blue. It doesn't make any sense because that's not how the world works. The world puts a lot of reflective color onto surfaces like cars and walls and everything. They have dirt, they have other colors that can hit them. And so thinking in terms of pure triads is usually not right. Triad in terms of shadow, mid-tone, highlight, definitely correct. Right? But that's why we say around here that value is what does all the work. Color gets all the credit. Okay? So this guy has a beard. So the purple, we're just going to kind of paint on the entire face. And I'm going to extend it onto the beard just so I can find the detailing here. Again, he's got a awkward shaped face. The area that I'm really concerned with is around the beard, chin, under the nose, under the cheek, and in this case, the eye socket is a good place to go too. For the purple. Now, a lot of times you'll see me, I'll just paint the whole face purple. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It works. It's fine. Oh, he doesn't really have a beard. He just has a goatee. Aha! I'm finding things out as I go. And he has a receding hairline. Got a big forehead and a widow's peak. I'm just gonna go ahead and paint the whole thing. If we're gonna show you what I would normally do, let's just do it. So with the purple, just be loose and paint the whole thing. Right? Ears, the whole nine. Yeah, he only has one ear. The other ear is covered by hair. Okay. Pretty easy. Then I grab some of the red oxide, and the nice thing is you can move fast. If you wet blend a little bit, even better. Who cares? And the red oxide needs to, so I feel like, yeah. I feel like I've got something, see that something on his eye?
What is that?
I feel like it might be
Is it a burr?
a burr.
I was going to ask you.
I feel like as we paint and pick that up, I feel like that's a thing that's like the old metal. Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay. Oh, perfect. Good.
Yeah, and the connection point's just going to be a little silver there, but I don't think... I think it's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So with the red oxide, what we want to do is get the cheek area.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The nose, right at the pinch of the nose and smile line. And then on up into where the eyebrow pinches together. I leave the eye socket the purple. Okay. Now, again, at this scale, perfection is not necessary here. You can get a little bit up into the temple if it gives you that on the sculpt to work with. This does a little bit. You can do that, right? You get this crazy mask, right? You've painted this road warrior mask across his eyes, basically. You can do the lips and stuff too if you wanted to, but I usually don't. Well, that'll come back after the fact. Okay. Then we go in with the bright yellow green across the forehead. And he's got this big widow's peak, but I'm going to get that all up into the forehead there and the top of the nose. Okay. There you go. That's it. Crazy as it is. I guess since he does have one ear, you would get the top of the ear as well over here. You can't hardly see it on the model, so I keep forgetting about it, but we don't want to do that. Get the top of the ear too. I reserve the bright yellow green for areas that are typically where there's not a lot of depth to the skin, if that makes sense, right? If you can grab an area of skin like an elbow, a forehead, there's nothing between bone and skin. You get my drift? There's no muscle. I mean, there might be little muscles that pull your forehead up there, but they're tiny. There's not a lot of meat there. And so anywhere where there's not a lot of meat, top of your ear, gristle, that kind of stuff, bone, all of that, then the bright yellow green sits there. See, look at that. Ha-ha! Ugly, right? Not blending anything, don't care. That's not the point, right? You just want those colors to sit in those areas. Having some messy texture on there works really well. Now, we need a skin tone. And in this case, let's use... I think maybe... Oh, that's what's wrong. That's supposed to go there. This is supposed to go here. I'm thinking maybe we use... burnt umber. I'm really liking burnt umber as a base tone for flesh because it sits right in between dark flesh and shadow flesh. It's kind of like a darker version of advanced flesh tone almost. You want to do your first layer of glaze with something darker. Remember that as you glaze over bright colors like the bright yellow green, if you use a bright color, it only gets brighter and you're going to get a weird mix. So you want to use a dark flesh tone in the first case. Shadow flesh works really well. Dark flesh works really well. Advanced flesh tone works really well. All those are great. So quite a bit of water on my brush, right? Like I said, when you rinse your brush and pull it out of the rinse cup, it has as much water as it can hold. That's full saturation. I'm not going to wipe that on the paper towel. I'm going to come right over, right, into the burnt umber. And I'm just going to create a very low opacity, very low viscosity paint. And then I come over here and I test it. I don't have any of the skin color. Well, I do have a little bit here, right? But I can show you how it'll glaze over the red and the green, and you can still see the red and the green underneath it. So it has a very good lack of opacity, we'll call it, translucence. I don't want a lot of material on the brush. I don't want it to put lots of globs on the model. And then we just come over here and we start glazing it on. Over the entire face, shadows and all. Purple, red, green, everything. And this is where you'll want to go thinner is better so that you can layer it up to get it right. If you aren't thin enough and you cover up too much of these underpainted colors, it makes it not worth having done. So you want to make sure your paint errs on the side of caution. Caution being thinner than you might think you need. And then just put multiple layers on there. And you can already, just after one pass, start to see. And go back. Because I'm painting really thin, the glaze will cure pretty quickly. So then I'll come back in and more pointedly try to get like the top of the cheek. right outside of the temple, across the forehead again, that little pinch of the nose. Yeah, super quick. Allows you to do it on any scale.
Yep.
And
Super
then,
simplified.
he's got his mustache, so we don't want to
hit that.
Well, I mean, you can. It's just going to make the face look weird, so you do need to kind of keep this glaze in the area where you want the flesh tones to be. Then all of a sudden you notice that we're getting a pretty good looking skin tone very, very fast.
Yeah. Look at that.
Right.
Yep.
And then each time I go back for another glaze, I go with a little less water on the brush. So I hit it 2 times on the paper towel there and then into the paint. So that now I'm going to be more opaque with my color. So that as I come in, I can be more specific. I can get it right in where I need it to be. Brighten up that cheek a little bit. Laugh line. Cheek over on this side. Again, grab that laugh line. Around the temple, forehead, top of the ear, side of the ear. I want to make sure I don't have a whole lot of bright yellow green hiding anywhere on this ear. Kind of hard to get to around the gun, believe it or not.
Nice. Great.
And then you just keep plodding around and having fun with it until you like the coloring everywhere, right? Like I said, his face is very angular. His cheekbones are really high, very elvish almost.
Funny, every time you scoot him that way, the gun hides his face because the gun is so big.
Yeah, the gun's like, ta-da!
Yeah, that's looking great though. It makes me want to go back and redo some of my old Blood Bowl models with this technique.
Yeah, be super.
They have a lot of skin and stuff like that.
You have Empire?
No, I have the
halflings.
halflings. And they have like big faces like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to pop in close on that?
Yeah.
And you can see how much depth we have to that face.
Yep.
Right? The purples, the reds, the bright yellow green along the forehead gives us all that coloring that makes it have a lot more life to it just instantaneously. It's that easy.
Yeah.
Right? And so your skin tone now has all the depth of, he's very flush still because I haven't done any highlights. But as we put more skin highlights on it, you'll start to find that that it starts to push all that to where it's not quite as red around here. But I'm at the point where the skin tone I'm using right now is about as opaque. Like I'm getting everything out of it that I can while still being able to see through it. So now I need to move to a brighter color and we can start highlighting that. And that was 10 minutes. So that shows you how quick you could be doing this as doing a whole unit, so on and so forth. So now I'll take advanced flesh tone, which is brighter than the other color. If you want to pop back out.
Yep.
You'll look at, like, just when picking your flesh tones, I glazed with the one on the left and then I'm moving to the one on the right as a highlight. That's a pretty good way to go. You don't want to jump too bright like we did with our non-metallic metal because I'm not trying to make the skin look super shiny, but this will give us a good bright color here.
Nice.
And on this, I again want to start with a little bit of a thinner, almost glazed consistency, right? But notice how that's brighter.
Yep.
And then we're, again, going to be very deliberate and catch like the wrinkles in his forehead here. More over to the side of the light with this. Top of the nose. Right? He has a real blunt edge to the side of his face. It's really strange.
Yes.
Like it just jumps over to the side, like around a
Just like
square corner.
Yep.
It loses the spherical nature of the skull. Said he's very, very angular. Again, catch just maybe the top of the laugh line there.
I'm gonna zoom.
Top of the cheek. Yeah. Right, so I got just that little spot of the laugh line as it comes out from the pinch of the eye. Get the top of the cheek here.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Man, the sculpt on it, once it's start to really see how angular these old sculpts were.
That cheek, but only on the little plump edge as it comes out towards the light, and leave the rest of the side of that face pretty dark. Guess I can pick this ridge out a little bit, and maybe a little bit as we go over here.
Look at that. Dang. Nice.
You can see how well all that works. The yellow green is kind of almost gone, but you can still see it. See how you get that little bit of weird yellow greenish, coloring right there on the side of the temple, right on the meat of the ear, right? And then we get our highlight, and then a little bit more over here on the shadow side. And then that red really takes over as being kind of a really good flush color. And then the purple right as we get along the beard and the mustache and the underneath of the nose and the underneath of the eye sockets.
Yeah.
Right?
He has a mustache, right? Yeah,
he does have a mustache, yeah. Mustache, goatee, long hair. Okay. And then, that's all we needed, that color. Then we take something like tan flesh. Or maybe beige red. I think tan flesh.
I loved using beige red on stuff like this too.
We'll take tan flesh because tan flesh is kind of the natural progression out of these colors that I'm using.
Mm-hmm.
We could, the bright advanced flesh tone or the bright shadow flesh and things get us a little more yellow. The beige red, of course, gets us a little bit more pink.
Yeah.
And a little bit more desaturated. I think tan flesh works really well. Here, because it's a really bright color, again, I'm going to put leave a lot of water on the brush so that I'm glazing with it basically and get rid of most of the paint. So that as I come over here, I don't get just a huge impact of color immediately. That's the way you can protect yourself in that regard. And I just want to brighten up this edge, what feels like a corner to his forehead, right?
I've got it really punched in. It looks perfect. There it is.
Yeah.
That looks great.
Right, so just going for that edge, and then maybe just a little bit up here at the top of the nose, right? We could grab like a little bit of the nostril. I can poke it in there a little bit. And then again, maybe just a hair along the laugh line here. And then this cheekbone. Like so.
Perfect.
And then over here, where the light would come around the nose, we can just get the cheekbone like kind of right. Doot. Like that. And all of a sudden, you got a really good face. Top of the ear is poking out over here, so we want it to be bright as well. Maybe he's got some weird texture on the side of his face there. I don't know what all that is, but yeah. And literally painting a face is that easy. Now, I feel like the ditch of the laugh line on the bright side got a little too dark there. So I'm going to go back with the last mid-tone color that we did. Right, and I'm going to take and brighten up this area right in here a little bit more.
Now on this scale of model, right, would you do your eye techniques that you've taught everybody?
You could. His eyes are really recessed, so I'm not going to paint him at all.
Okay.
They're so, in the way the sculpt is they're so deep in there, they're meant to be shadowed.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could come in here and let's see if we can get it. First, let me see if I can get just a little sprig of brightness along this laugh line. Right
you mentioned that last time where it's like, hey, some of these models don't even bother, right?
Yeah. So punch back in.
Yeah.
Right. So I get a little bit more of the laugh line. Bring that nostril back out. I mean, we're talking about the smallest deets and doots right here.
Yeah.
Of color, right? Because that nostril's tiny, right? And there, now I was able to catch the laugh line and brought the cheek around a little bit more. And then if we wanted to, we could kind of hopefully be able to get up in here, depending on how the sculpt is, and grab like a little bit like that, like of the eyelash or eyebrow, the lower eyelid.
Yep.
Right. See how I just got that little bitty poke on the eyelid.
Yeah.
And then over here, same thing. So now it looks like the eyes are painted, but they're not.
No, that's what you were saying last time. It's like, well, some of these models are just too Small.
Yeah, it's just not possible.
It doesn't make sense.
But look at how that went, and that was not even 20 minutes. Right?
It was 18 minutes and 40 seconds.
18 minutes and 40 seconds, gang, and you can get a really nice looking face.
And I mean, you guys got to remember, this is 500% zoomed in. There's your tabletop right there,
yeah, I mean,
right?
that's my pinky nail, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very small model.
And that's what I mean by underpainting works almost better at this scale because it allows you to get so much more depth on a face that if you were trying to blend this over time, it can be done. It just takes a lot of time on such a small scale. So being able to use the underpainting method to get this very quick workup works wonders. Mm-hmm. Might be less if you weren't flapping your gums so much. I know he's talking to you, so.
No, I think he's talking to you. I was silent.
Damn it.
Awesome. Well, there you go. And it's 3:58. We are professionals. And when I mean we, I mean you in this case, but kind of me with you. Great job on this face. Hey, that's just wonderful.
Agrippa says, this is why basic Marines back in the day had no detail or abdomen.
So here's the thing. You all got Antonio El Tigre's face, and now you've got the exact opposite of the bust, the tiniest little face.
Yeah, and some non-metallic steel. So we worked through a bunch of really good ways that hopefully some light bulbs went off for you on how to achieve reflective surface, metal on this scale, where we did the steel and pushed you so that you understand that it's that jump to bright color that makes it shiny or not. It makes it read as solid surface or not. Looking at that back carapace, keeping your highlights and everything running consistently as you go, so that shine from the gold armor follows right along into the steel on the vents and things like that. It's that consistency of value that's going to really pull it off. So all your light bulbs are off. Off versus on, or they've gone off?
I think they've gone off. Well, that was great, Jason. Thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
I hope you all learned something. I did.
This is Good Friday. I've had a wonderful week this week. I think painting this guy has been a lot of fun. I think that at scale, showing you how you can still have fun with, what is ultimately this is true 28 millimeter. Like when we say our scale for miniatures is 28, this guy is 28 mil. Our scale creep has made painting easier in a sense. Our details and the sculpting has made painting easier in a sense, but these are still lots of fun, man. A lot of character in this, painting that face where he's super angular and all that. But look at that. We got a really good face out of that in a very short amount of time. Using techniques that we would normally use on more advanced stuff. So it shows you that, no model is beyond reach when you want to try a new technique. And sometimes using them on these small janky models like this that don't have all the details really allow you to show off, really allow you to bring the model to life. It feels like it's more of a painter's job than some of the new models that have so much detail that it's really like paint by numbers. It's like if you put paint on all the details, it'll look great because it just has so much detail. Whereas these don't have a whole lot. And a lot of what's on there, you have no idea what it is because it's just a lump of clay with some dots on it because they're like, maybe that looks like a panel. Who knows? But thank you so much for hanging out with us this week.
Nice.
Awesome, Finn. Glad you got something out of it. He has such poo posture. He is like ready to take a dump. Bathroom there. So thanks so much for hanging out with us. If you're new around here, please hit the follow button if you're on the Twitch side, or the subscribe button if you're over on the YouTube side. We stream to both channels simultaneously Monday through Friday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time right here from HQ, Monument Headquarters, Phoenix, Arizona. Stop by. Say hi. Bring us a cheesesteak. Just not on Saturday or Sunday or on Monday, because remember, it's Memorial Day holiday here in the States on Monday. We are closed as an office. We are taking a 3-day weekend. I'm allowing Chris to have a wonderful day off. Even though I know you want to be here.
I'll take it.
I know you want to be here.
I might. Who knows?
You're just going to show up? Maybe we'll paint.
I'll just sit here. We
could
could
play games.
I'll just sit here.
We could paint and play games.
Monday.
Have fun. We'll see.
We could.
But no stream.
No stream.
And next week I leave for Poland for the Contrast Festival on Thursday, so we'll be streaming Tuesday, Wednesday next week with me, and then with Chris and Jordan and whomever else through the end of the week. And then the whole week, the following week, because I will be in our new French office. We've opened up Monument Hobbies Europe, and our France office opens officially next week. I'll be over there helping that team and seeing how that goes. So wish me luck. I will be trying to post pictures and journey stuff on the Discord, maybe. I'm really horrible at that, but I'm going to try to be better. I'm going to at least try to take some really cool pictures of contrast and maybe my flight there and my journey through airports and all that nonsense. We'll see if we can't do some where's Jason in the world. I have to take like 4 legs of a flight just to get there. I go to Amsterdam, Dallas, Amsterdam, and then maybe Warsaw. I don't remember, but I'm in Poland. So have a great week without me. Make sure to check out the links that Chris put up in the chat there. If you're new around here, you want to try some of our Monument Hobbies products, you can check directly at our store, monumenthobbies.com, or at the FLGS link that shows you all of the store locations around the globe. We've got tons and tons of retail partners that sell our wonderful products directly to you. Go support them when you can. Stick around. Chris is going to find somebody to raid. We've got 5,682 amazing artists in the Discord with their brightness within. The brightness is within, Ghost Hunter. Make sure to join the Discord. It's a wonderful community of amazing artists just like you guys and gals. Lots of good inspiration, really bad jokes, and good friends to be made. Love to see you over there. Where in the world is Jason San Diego? I'm Josh, Ghost Hunter. Jeez, get it right. Stick around for the raid. Show some love to the channel we wind up in, and have a wonderful weekend. We'll catch you back here on Tuesday. Adios, gang.